So it was very interesting to work with Vladimir and with Magnus as part of teams for major events. So for Vladimir Kramnik, it was candidate events, especially the one in 2011, but as well in 2013. And with Magnus famously for his match, World Championship match against Karyakin. So I was looking forward to get some experience, to see how top players were working on chess. So Vladimir Kramnik, of course, is well known for, is how methodical he is in his opening work. And indeed, for instance, the first time we spent easily a couple of months on one specific variation of the Grunfeld. And at the time, it was still very useful to use a chessboard and to not rely too much on computers. And it taught me also some basis of methodology. Hopefully, also, I was the one working as well, so I was hopefully finding some good ideas as well. It was very interesting. With Magnus, the work was a bit different, but also I was already much higher in terms of my chess career. I was on a very good run and second in the world. And my main idea was to watch from behind the scenes what was happening in a World Championship match and how a big team was coordinating. First of all, in case I needed it, and also to see a bit what was happening in terms of chess preparation. Was there some hacks or some things that Magnus and his team was doing differently to make his work easier and more efficient? And from there, I borrowed a few ideas that I liked and implemented them in my training, especially opening training. And of course, this match with Karyakin was extremely intense. So what was happening is Magnus and his main coach Peter Heine were based in New York, but the team, which consisted of Laurent, Jan Gustafsson, Nils Kandelius, and me, we were based in Krakow in Norway. So we were 6 hours ahead, which meant we were working in the morning up until it was morning in New York, at which we would send our conclusions. And it was really a team effort. So everyone was looking at different lines, but we would shuffle so that everyone would look at more or less every different opening to have new sets of eyes, new ideas. Because of course, if you're looking for 10 hours in a row at some obscure line in the Marshall, at some point your eyes don't feel fresh and you don't find any idea. And it was very tense, especially since Magnus lost one game very unnecessarily and then was trailing, but hopefully managed to overcome this, to win one very decisive game in game 10 and finally win the match. But it was obviously very nerve-wracking. So in terms of how we fare with other players, I wouldn't say there's a lot of real friendships happening. This simply because there's we live too much at the chessboard to call each other friends. I mean, I've had drinks, of course, with other players. I've been to dinners with other players, among Fabiano, obviously Levon, Shach. Quite often it's maybe a bit less known, but it's also the case, and Sasha Guishuk as well, and in a sense many others. Because at the same time, even if we're not real friends, there's still quite a lot of respect, and some players we get along with quite well. So that's my case. So it's nice, to share a passion and to share also what it is to be a top player. So we're talking to people with people who understand us better than random people, and sometimes than also some of my friends or my family. Like, they don't necessarily understand as well what life is as a chess player, but that's very, very normal. So this is quite nice. Sometimes also during tournaments where it was like maybe a more convivial setting, where we had more fun because maybe less tension, less chess related tension. I mean, not in candidates or anything, but like tournaments like Norway Chess, we were sometimes playing board games, famously Avalon, but some others as well. So, there are sometimes some tensions, but between certain chess players, but it's nowhere near the level of things that were achieved between Kramnik and Toparov, for instance. So, of course, chess, the life of a chess player is very similar, for instance, to the life of a tennis player. This is very comparable. We are traveling more or less half the year. I think it's maybe a bit more for tennis players, but I'm not sure. And because the tour is very, organized, especially for top players, we go very often to the same places. So I've been to a bit over 40 countries, which is not that much considering that I play easily 12 to 15 tournaments a year. Most of them are in Europe. Of course, there's a lot of events also in the US, especially ever since the St. Louis Chess Club. But this is exactly the time where I've been a chess player, a professional chess player. Quite a few in Asia. I've been to quite a few countries in Asia and also Middle East. Especially for the World Blitz and Rapid, like there was Doha, there was Dubai, obviously, and Riyadh as well. I've been less to South America, or I've been less to Africa, but I've had a couple experiences there. So in general, it's fun, to get to travel a lot. I'm not as much into sightseeing as other players. I know a player like Levon also enjoys to, visit and try to understand the culture of a country. But for me, I know I prefer to, use my time to rest a bit more and to focus on the chess tournament. And maybe if I have some time during a free day, I will visit a bit, but mostly main spots and not like get a deep immersion into a country. Even though I've had some good moments, of course, and in restaurants you kind of see local people, but it's a bit different. I think the countries that you like are a matter of personal taste. For me, I enjoyed very much my time in Iceland, for instance, even though it was a bit chilly because it was in either autumn or winter. But I think overall it's a very welcoming country, and there's also quite. I live in a city, so I like very much when either I'm in a big city, so for instance New York, London, I like very much. I find them very similar to Paris. Or if there's a lot of nature, because I kind of need to reconnect with nature from time to time. And for instance, Iceland is very natural. Also, my times in Stavanger were very nice in that sense. It's very calming, and it brings naturally more peace of mind than life in a city or like in Dubai or Doha, where you don't have same access to forest, to lakes, and to mountains. One time in China, I'm pretty sure we had a dog on the menu, but Not completely sure. What is completely sure is that there was pigeon heads. It was a team match, but this was back in 2005. So we had a teammate, Natasha Ben-Mesbah, with French, quite strong French player, and she was eating them, but I didn't try them. Apart from that, obviously in my time in Ivory Coast, it was of course a bit more exotic food than what I'm used to, but I enjoyed it. But what I enjoyed was fresh ginger juice. But that was very spicy. I like spicy food, but and spicy drinks. But this was, very, very kicking. So when I'm at a tournament, I'm not necessarily looking for adventure. Sometimes we relax, but I think it mainly happened, of course, in team competitions. Like it's more relaxed. We have other people to hang out with. But apart from occasionally going to the casino, as a degenerate gamblers that the French team sometimes is, I don't recall anything at least I was never held at gunpoint, for instance, or stuff like that. So I've not experienced the real things that make you a man.